Hello, welcome to the 24th episode of the Creation of Anatomy podcast. I'm your host, Eric Valero.
And I'm your host, Sarah Hollcraft. And we have a special guest today, my oldest sister, Katie Hollcraft.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. So Cecilia we had on back in the summer. That was a pretty early episode. Katie got to be our live studio audience for that one.
Yeah, true.
But now you're finally on one of our episodes.
Yeah.
Which is exciting because Katie is what we call a TOB student. She's been studying theology of the body for 6 years, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, at Theology of the Body Institute, which maybe you want to mention. We haven't really mentioned anything about that
Sure.
on the podcast episode, so
Yeah.
maybe you explain what that is.
Yeah, Theology of the Body Institute was founded by Christopher West. It's in Black Rock Retreat Center in Quarryville, Pennsylvania. They do week-long retreats. Sarah has been on one.
Mm-hmm.
Our mom's been on a couple. I'm trying to get everyone on one, but
slowly but surely. Monica went on one.
Oh yeah, Monica and David went on one. Yeah,
our other sister.
Yes, the youngest. Yeah, so just a place where you can go for personal enrichment or to get certified. You can get a master's through them. It's an opportunity to really dive into this text and in a really beautiful way. So.
And you're getting your master's.
Yeah, I'm working on it slowly but surely.
Yeah. They're great classes. I went on. It's funny because I'm pretty sure the first one you're supposed to go on is the Head and Heart.
Yeah, the TOB one.
Yeah, I didn't go on 1 or 2. I just went straight to the Way of Beauty.
Yeah,
so
it's fine. Bill's great. Shout out Bill Donahue.
Yeah, we'll go on one together.
Sure, absolutely.
One day.
Not too far away.
No, yeah. Very close.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So what did you do this weekend?
Well, yeah, so Katie's in town from California because we had my bridal shower this weekend, which was really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you got to meet Eric's family, which is fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I met a lot of Eric's family.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember a lot of people's names, though.
There's a lot of people.
Although, to be fair, as I was going through their, the cards that they brought us, I could put, faces to names as I was reading them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I think by the time the wedding comes, I'll have learned their names.
To be honest, it took me a long time to figure out who everybody was, and I'm not even sure I have it all straightened out.
Because in your family?
In my family. It's pretty confusing because it's you guys, the generation that you guys consider cousins are your cousins, right?
Yeah.
And for me, it's the generation above that and their kids, right? And my parents' siblings' kids as well. But it's way further out than that. So I'm thinking okay, this is my grandfather's sister's grandkids, and it's
how are they related?
Right. So it gets a little complicated that way.
Sure. Yeah, that will take me a while.
I want to maybe see a family tree one day and put them all in there, and I'd be oh, that makes sense now. You know?
Yeah. We could put in our family Bible. Shout out to Georgette.
That's true. Shout out to Georgette. Yeah.
For getting us a beautiful Bible.
One thing I didn't realize for the longest time is that growing up, I guess I just knew these were my dad's cousins.
Yeah.
And I don't know, your cousins come from 2 different sides, obviously, right? And I had no clue they were 100% from his dad's side and 0% from my grandmother's side.
Oh.
0%. There's no one over here from my grandmother's side.
Because they're all in Italy.
They're all in Italy, still in Calabria. Mm. Yeah.
Can you imagine? Oh my gosh, you weren't there yesterday. We played Would She Rather?
Oh yeah.
And one of the questions was Italian food or Mexican food, and my answer was Mexican food. There's a bunch of Italians there.
We're neither Mexican though. At least one of us is Italian.
I know. So that was a little awkward to say in front of everybody, but
Yeah, it's a little bit of an insult because I feel like when I make
We're
Italian
from
food,
California.
yes. Well, then Janet, she was like, all of you young people prefer Mexican food. I was like, is that like a Gen Z thing to want Mexican food? I don't.
it's a Gen X thing to think that though.
Oh, yeah.
You
Probably,
know?
you know what? It's probably because Chipotle is such a big thing. So she's like, you guys always want Chipotle.
Yeah, Gen X is like a big blame it on the generation kind of thing as opposed to maybe just regionally.
Yes, that's true.
You
That's
know?
true.
Is that not just like every older generation though?
But
The younger generation
they're in
plays
that
it on?
time right now.
They're in that. That's.
It was a
fair enough,
boomer
that's
thing
the
for a
phase
while.
they're in.
Now it's a Gen X thing.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that looked like a fun party.
Yeah.
I played spike ball.
So what happened about pickleball?
We played pickleball. It's tough. I mean, we played pickleball for a little bit with 3 people. I don't know how much you're gonna do because let's put it this way: the person that was by themselves lost every time.
Sure.
So it was tough.
You're saying you lost to 2 old men?
Yes, I did. Yeah, it was. I was huffing and puffing, going back and forth, being 2 people the whole time. But spike ball was fun. Neither of them played spike ball before, and you know what's? I really felt successful, not because of the outcomes of any game, but because you could definitely tell they are looking forward to playing that again.
Oh yeah.
And it's impressive being able to get that kind of game where they go, oh, I'm into this game when it's not even being played properly. You need 4 people to properly play the game. So
yeah, I've rarely met specifically guys who play spike ball and then don't want to play it again.
Oh yeah, it's
like guys love that game. I mean, a lot of girls love that game too, which is nice.
And you know what's awesome about the game is that I think you think the game is only so cool when you think about like, oh, you just got to spike it as hard as possible. But then when you realize that like the nuances of the game and getting better at your technique is about being more controlled and subtle with your movements.
Yes.
I think it builds more of an appreciation of like, ooh, there is a talent and skill to this.
Which is why girls like it too, because it's not all about strength.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Do you like it?
Yeah, I don't play that often, but I do think it's fun. Kind of reminds me of 9 Square.
Oh.
Like, I think 9 Square is super fun, but just like that, exactly what you're talking about. Like, there's the temptation to just like, oh, if you just spike the ball into someone else's square, you're going to get out. But actually, the person who gets the most people out is the person that can just tap it.
Is that like 4 Square?
You've never played 9 Square?
You haven't played 9 Square?
It sounds the same as 4 Square, just 5 more squares.
Yes. Do you mean 9 Square on the ground or up above?
Oh, on the ground. I have seen people play up above, but that sounds crazy.
Up above is so fun when you're playing with people who are good. But it is like 4 Square.
I'll have to see this.
Well, so, because we didn't play it at Embolden. But basically, you can build like, it's not hard to build actually, because it's just like a bunch of PVC pipes that stand on itself and make 9 squares up above. But you like, just like 4 Square, you hit it into people's boxes and they hit it back into yours. But if you hit it out, then you're out. Or if you don't hit it when it comes to you, then you're out. Yeah.
Got to play that.
Yeah.
Next Emboldened.
Yeah. I mean, not as fun as Gaga Ball, but.
Yeah, the Israelis know how to make a game. That's a great game.
Oh, yeah.
We used to play that when I first started teaching at the middle school. And I've never seen a group of kids be so committed to the rules of a game. Mm-hmm. You know, that is so like the dedication, and it was to the extent that people started to like mess with the rules that people stopped being interested in it. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if they all remember back when they took it seriously, because it became uncool. You know, after like a year, like it became the thing that like kids that like weren't playing basketball or football or something like that would play, but like it wasn't competitive anymore. Oh. And it was it was interesting is that like I wonder if they remember what it was like, but it's hard to collectively. It's hard to do anything collectively. It's really hard to get a big group to all be like, we're all gonna have this attitude about it.
Yeah.
Because you can be like, I want to, but now these people aren't, and it's like, well, all right, I'm not going to be the only one that's taking this game seriously. But when all of them took it seriously, it was so cool.
Yeah, that is what's hard about Gaga Ball. Versus Spike Ball, you only need 3 other people who take it seriously. Yeah. Good game chatter.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm a big nerd on like
kid games.
Like the rules of games, like understanding the reasons for the rules of games, right? Because like they're like Jean Piaget, like he had all these theories on how children develop their sense of morality, and when you ask kids at different levels of like where the rules come from, they have different phases that they go in because they don't really understand what rules are at first, but they initially think that God created all the rules, or somebody that would be for all intents and purposes God, like my great grandfather, or like the oldest person on earth. Like they'll say that person made the rules, and it's so interesting because then they lose that idea and say like, no, I think somebody maybe made them up. And then as they get even older, you start to realize it's like their first hunch that God made the rules isn't so far off, because it's kind of like you suss out the rules and the rules kind of show themselves. And it's like kind of like the fabric of reality itself determines what fairness is, not necessarily somebody just arbitrarily going, this is right, this is wrong, this is the rule, this is not. Which is weird because like they go full circle where the kids were kind of right from the beginning.
Eternal law,
right? Something that unchangeably, exactly.
Yep.
God itself, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so
are you ready to get into it? Yeah.
We read a lot more than usual. We had 3 audiences today. From audience 5, if you have our book, page 146, audience 5, 6, and 7, so 146 to 156 we read. All about the meaning of original solitude. So we're really getting into the topics of theology of the body.
Yeah, and he brought up some things that, I don't know, he even talks about how concise this text is, right? And how, like, I think he even said you can't make too many implications because of how small the text is, right? You don't have, like, books on how creation happened. He gave you a small, concise text. And yet he still pulled out something I've never thought of, which is like, I don't know, how have I never thought of that? Like that's.
Yeah. You want to jump to that?
If you guys don't mind jumping to that, I would love to talk about that, because that was, when I tell you. So I literally wrote.
What page?
And on 154, the alternative between death and immortality. And the quote from Genesis is, "You may eat from every tree of the garden, but of the tree of knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for when you eat of it, you shall certainly die." And I've thought about, like, there's ideas of where, like, the devil is kind of claiming that God's lying to them because they don't die the second they eat the fruit, and I've heard like plenty of analyses of this. I've never heard this, which is what popped in my mind, and then he said it the next couple sentences, which is like, they have no clue what death is. They don't know what it means to die. And maybe you guys have thought of this before, but like, I've literally never thought of that. Like they've never. And why do we think we know what death is? You know what I mean? Like, we've never died before. Like, we've seen people die. We know that death is something that awaits us, but it's something that is feared across all humanity. But why do we think we know what it is to die?
And to be honest, I've actually never, it's kind of dark, but I've never seen anybody die. So I actually don't even like really have a concept.
I've never seen anybody die. No.
haven't either. Was that a question now?
Well, now, yeah, because I kind of wonder, because I've heard people talk about it before, how, like, watching somebody die, like, in a peaceful way, can be somewhat, I don't know, so for some people, it can be healing. But specifically, I've heard, like, when they saw them in so much pain, and then seeing them kind of, like, pass away, and, like, be done with that, there's somewhat of a peace that they experience and healing that they experience, knowing, like, that they're not in pain anymore. But yeah, like, our concept of death isn't, like, how can we know?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I've seen an animal die. That's not really the same. I mean, it's still death.
Yeah.
But
it's still death, yeah.
Yeah, I think that.
Yeah, I think sometimes people think that death is terrifying. And in my mind, I've had plenty of struggle dealing with the fear of death throughout my life, because I would imagine if somebody told me right now you're gonna die, like I think we anticipate living tomorrow and have plans, and if all of a sudden you go, not only are those plans not gonna happen, but you're not gonna be here anymore, and then like this shock comes over you of like, what does that even mean? What does that mean that I'm not going to be here anymore? I don't know what it means to not be here. And I initially think of death as terrifying, and that I worry of how I'm going to behave on my deathbed. I worry that am I going to freak out?
Yeah.
Am I going to like try to accomplish everything I thought I was going to accomplish in the next bit of time because I'm not going to have any more time? And I think it's pretty apparent that like that's not most people's experience when they watch somebody pass away. And it's strange because if this was the last thing I was gonna say, I would go crazy thinking of like how much can I possibly say right now, And to think that most people are pretty peaceful when they die. And like what is it that brings that peace over them, you know? And is my interpretation of what death is in itself incorrect because I think it will be terrifying?
Right.
Well, and this is a little bit of a different direction, but but I think that what I like about having read this and considering like Adam not knowing what death was, like being told if you eat of this tree you will die, and really just his only concept of it being that it is not like part of his reality at that moment. That actually the way he says it is that it is the radical antithesis to like his experience. And I think that because I mean it's really natural for us to think about death, to especially when we experience it, right? Like when someone in our family dies, when a friend dies, when honestly when someone who's like removed from us, when we hear it in the news that like we're rattled by it, people are rattled by a celebrity dying. They've never met that person, but like there's something about that that's like, wait, what? Like now I have to contest with my mortality. And I think that phrase, this radical antithesis, it for me just brings to mind that death was not God's original intent. It was not his original plan for humanity. And that brings me some relief, I think, because then the fear of it is natural.
Right.
Then the
warranted,
the way it offends us or frustrates us, especially when someone dies young, that is so like tragic, but because we recognize that like this is not how it's supposed to be, that we know in our bones that like immortality is what we were made for, and so death is wrong. Like it's not, and truly like highlights how supernatural it is that the martyrs went singing to their death. You know, like that, like that is a supernatural grace.
Yes.
That is not like, it is not. Yeah, it's not the natural human response to death. It is like the Lord blessing them with something
absolutely
new and beautiful, and yeah, that they recognize that, okay, now I get to enter the life I was truly made for, that we were robbed of in Eden, in a way.
Right, and the idea of the courage a martyr has, right, is like, I can't muster up that kind of courage in and of myself. It can't come from within me. That courage has to come from God. And it's something that is unimaginable. What it would be like to have such courage given to you that you could face death forthrightly. Right? That's gives me chills to even think about that.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's why we're not supposed to just like think about our death. Like we should remember our death, but it's not something that we like should dwell on and think about all the time, because in the same way, like we just shouldn't think about our future all the time, because the grace that we'll need for that moment, like we can't imagine it. We don't have it right now because we don't need it right now. We need it for when we're in that moment, but we can't try to create it in ourselves now so that we're ready for that moment. We just have to trust that God will help us be ready for that moment. Kind of, it even goes into when Jesus says, like, don't prepare what you plan to say, but like let the Holy Spirit give you the words. In the same way, like we can't prepare what we're going to feel or experience. Just like let yourself experience it and let God and the Holy Spirit like move through you so that you can experience it the way that you should.
Yeah.
Which is hard, obviously. Like that's so much easier said than done. We think about our future and worry about our future so often. So like, what does it mean to just like, okay, God, like I know that you'll give me the grace to do that thing that I don't know that I'm going to do yet somehow.
Yeah, I definitely think that there is the illusion that you could replace God's grace with planning.
Yes, yeah.
Right? That like if I just planned better, if I just put more factors in and like had a better strategy, that it could replace God's grace. And like it's very clear, especially in my life right now, there's zero chance that I could plan for the rest of eternity and it wouldn't be even close to what God could give me right now.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's that illusion of control, right? And like maybe to some degree we can have control over our lives, but it takes very little for that control to be taken away.
Yeah.
Like we don't live in a bubble. We're not isolated. I mean, original solitude, Adam was for a little bit, but
and yet there were still anomalies that happened within his solitude. That like, where did loneliness come from? Like the need for another person. Like he couldn't even plan to exist forever, fine and content by himself. He didn't anticipate this anomaly of loneliness to come about him. There's no planning a man can do that would suffice for what God could give him.
Well, that's like the phrase that you said, you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah, I didn't make that up, by the way.
I know.
Like you're saying you made up.
No, I think that applies in that sometimes we think, well, if these people weren't in my way, or if these people weren't obstacles, then I could just like plan my life and I would have control and everything would be fine. But to the same extent, like if we didn't have people in our lives, we couldn't have the life that we are trying to plan.
Yeah.
So we have to like, we have to take the blessings where there are, and then also, you know, recognize that not everybody is going to help us in the way that we want to be helped, and just like
right, not to give another old man saying, but it's kind of the saying, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. right?
I've heard that one.
You've heard that one, good, because it's the same idea of like, why do I want these people out of my way? So that I could live in community the way I would like to. It's like, well, you're throwing the community out by taking the inconvenient people out of your way.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
that's a really, the desire for community is so much a part of every person. And we see like sitcoms like Friends or How I Met Your Mother, and these like tight-knit, really toxic, but tight-knit groups of friends. And like, and everybody wants to have something like that, to have like the people that you just show up and you're always together and you experience life together. But they want it, like, we picture it in a very particular way. We want it to be just like exactly how we want it in our heads. And the reality is just like, I am not always going to like love every single thing or understand every single thing about another person, because of my own limitations, because of their limitations, because and then just like in our day-to-day life and in our friendships, just I don't know, I guess you could nitpick your community, but sometimes people show up and you're like, I didn't expect you. And I'm having trouble like loving you the way I know I need to, but sometimes those are the friendships that you push through, and at the end of the day, those are the ones that you're like, I cannot imagine my life without you.
Yeah.
And I think that's just incredible that like, that the Lord knew, though, the Lord knew that you needed that person, even if when you met them, you were like, Lord, this is rough. I don't,
Yeah. And it's funny, even like thinking about taking friends as an example, despite how toxic their relationships are, there is something about the way that they depend on each other and need each other. And that's why they constantly go back, like, because it's not like their lives are very not perfect, and they are like mean to each other, rude to each other, they mess up, they make mistakes and stuff. But there's something to, I don't think we depend on our friends enough, because we know that they're going to make mistakes, because we know that they're going to like disappoint us sometimes. And so we definitely keep a distance from our friends that I think we shouldn't. And even from people who like the inconvenient people who we don't want to depend on, we don't want to be vulnerable with, because we don't like want them as a friend, or we can't see them as a friend. But if we don't give them the chance to be a friend, then we'll never know if they can or not. So I think we should be more more available to people, and more like, we should definitely put more effort into creating friendships, knowing that, to be honest, like a lot of those efforts either go unseen or don't end up being fruitful, and that's hard. But it's worth it for the couple friends that you do make from putting in the time and the energy into them.
Right. There's a trust of you can't pick it, right?
Yeah.
You can't plan it. That's the same concept. I think that comes along with the idea of false idols. And like when God says that you can't worship mammon and God, right, at the same time, or right, is, I think you think of maybe like a celebrity, like a really wealthy person, right? And you must imagine like they must have problems because they could just go fix their problems with money, right? But that doesn't leave them immune to having community problems, right? And you can't replace that with money. You can't replace that with power or status. Like, the truth is, if you want a community, you have to be in it. You have to go through all the things you don't want to go through and the uncomfortable parts. And there's nothing in this world that can make you immune of that. It make you think you are. But.
Well, and this has been a conversation with a few of my friends recently. It's just like, that showing up for one another, but and vulnerability. But I think the hard thing, especially in communities where like it's good people, they want to show up for you. The the hard thing is not showing up for the other person. The hard thing is letting that person show up for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially like with how like self-sufficient we are as Americans, like how much it's like, no, if I just put my head down and just do it, like I can figure it out. I can figure it out. We don't want to show that vulnerability. Especially like, because what if I'm not received in it? What if I'm not loved in it? And like, to be vulnerable is to be open, and like that, to be open to be wounded, right? Like that's the breakdown of that word. And that's hard. That's a, you know, to let ourselves be in a position where you could wound me. Like, but also how incredibly beautiful and rich it is to be received in that place.
Yeah.
Like, because also you could heal me.
Yeah.
Like you could put balm on where those wounds have been in the past, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So it's interesting you say that, because when you're talking about that, and you're talking about like the breakdown of the word vulnerable, meaning open to be wounded, I think of wolves, right? And if a wolf is subordinating themselves, what they do is they show a vulnerable part, their neck or their belly or something like that. And it's kind of saying, I want to be accepted back in the community, and here's my willingness to be wounded, right? You could easily kill me. Like, I'm showing you that I'm willing. And that's the entrance back to the community. You have to be vulnerable, right? Because it's almost like a full commitment, right? If you're not willing to be wounded for the community, why is the community going to let you in?
Yeah.
And how can they trust you?
Right.
Yeah, if you don't trust them. Yeah.
You guys have any other thoughts on the on some of the readings?
For sure.
Did you want to look at? Do you know? You'd have notes.
I have notes.
Let's hear these notes.
Sorry. Well, you guys have notes too.
Oh, sorry. We just want to give you the opportunity because we talk a lot. They hear our voice all the time.
I was thinking as we were reading through Audience 5, there were a couple of things that came up in that. I think it's kind of one of the places where you start to hear like that the way that men and women meet each other. Like in these audiences, he doesn't quite get to like Eve coming onto the scene.
Yeah.
He mostly is talking about Adam being alone, but he does talk about like that that it is not good for man to be alone. That is coming soon. That conversation with God, and God bringing Eve out of Adam's rib, and that this original solitude is both like man in the like general sense, right? Like that no one person is meant to be alone.
Yeah.
That original solitude like shows us that a person is not meant to be alone, but also that like that men and women need each other. And I was actually I was reading that last night and thinking about that a lot, like especially like as a single woman, and constantly being inundated with the views of the world which says like you don't need a man, you know, and I think about like, but the moments where I have felt really, I was thinking back, and it was the moments where I felt really unsafe when a death happened in the family, when I was in the car accident a couple weeks ago. Like my response is not like I need to figure this out on my own. And honestly, my response is not even to like reach out to that girlfriend of mine who like really understands me and I can talk about all my feelings with. My need in that moment is to call my brother, is to call my dad, to be like, I don't feel safe. And you are the person, like, I think that I was just thinking about that yesterday. I was like, I just think that's such a part of the masculine genius to like bring safety, to bring, and yeah, I was just reflecting on that yesterday because of this. That man and woman are not meant to be separated from to be alone in our own little corners with that I think was kind of a big takeaway for me reading or rereading.
Sure, and they tend toward extremes, right? Like if you see men amongst themselves without the incorporation of women, they tend toward extreme being very rigid and very formulaic, right? And there's a lack of a nurturing, but there's also a very driven sense with it, right? And then women, they have plenty of nurturing, but they may lose that sense of safety, right? Yeah. And that's where there needs to be open conversation and not in a hostile way, because I see that in the society today is that there's this narrative which is not a good uniting narrative, that history is should be read of men like trying to overpower women, right? And I think sometimes it can be read that way, and I think there are certain times where men are faulty, right? There's definitely, they did not do this well or even in a good way, but it was necessary in times of trouble, right? Where men had to be the leaders and create a sense of safety, that there was a conflict between the rights of women.
Yeah.
And I think that happens, and you're seeing that happen play out today, right? Is that there is definitely speaking of rights of women constantly right now. And how do we understand that the rights of women is so tied integrally to our communities, right? That like you can't just say like, well, it's very clean cut, these are the rights of women, and like you can't budge that. It's like, well, there's also the element of unborn babies, right? And no matter where you are on the spectrum of pro-life to pro-choice, you can't deny that that's a conundrum to figure out how to manage dealing with that. And I think that the uniting narrative instead should be a conversation between men and women, as opposed to a battle between men and women.
Right. Yeah.
And I think it's not helpful it's not prudent at all to think of that as being how history laid itself out.
No, yeah.
Because it's not helping you get to where you need to go.
Right. And it's not reality.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like it completely is ignorant of that reality is so much more than just like the mistakes that people make, but like also, well, one, it's almost like acting, and this is almost absolutely never the case, almost, that that one person is completely in the wrong and the other person is right. Like almost always both people are in the wrong in some way, and exactly, there needs to be a conversation about like where do I need to grow and where do you need to grow, and not just like you take all the blame, and
also that I don't have the answer right now.
Yeah.
Right? I need your intake, and this is the necessity of needing men and women needing each other, is if you think that, if a man thinks that he's right and it would just be better for the woman to subordinate to him, he's not showing he needs a woman. He's showing that it would just be nice if she stopped talking, right? Yeah. As opposed to, I need your intake. I can't do without it, because I know what I know, and I'm going to fight for what I know, but it's incomplete without your intake.
Yeah. Which
Input,
is almost...
When I say intake.
Yeah. It's almost like completely flipped now. I find that men are very timid about saying their opinions to women, because I find like men do just fine talking to each other and sharing their opinions with each other and arguing, but they seem to be timid around women, specifically when it gets into topics that have to do with women, because they don't want to come off as sexist or...
I find they almost always come off ignorant. And that's why, I mean, I teach a class on the menstrual cycle, and I'm a guy, so like they always say, what do you know? I'm like, well, I know anatomy well. And the thing is that I find most of the time when a man is having a conversation with a woman about something pertaining to women, they usually come off insensitive because they're not informed well enough.
Mm-hmm.
And they need to be informed because women need men.
Mm-hmm.
You know, women need men to have the input about their issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it can't just be one side all the time, right? And I think men are not doing their due diligence understanding women's issues.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, that's kind of like a taboo thing to talk about amongst. I mean, to be honest, I went to hang the flyer up at a coffee shop, and the man didn't know what a menstrual cycle was.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm not even joking. He literally goes, "What is that?" And I said, and I mean, the women laughed at him. I'm just like, I feel bad for you. Like, you're an adult male.
Mm-hmm.
How has it been that you've been so shielded this whole
Yeah.
time of what that is?
Yeah.
You know, and it's because it's acceptable. And like we even talked about being vulnerable, women have to be willing to share knowledge and then accept feedback as well
Yeah.
from men.
I do imagine it's probably hard if you don't have sisters, because like,
Sure.
like obviously, like if you, like your mom can talk to you about it, but like I feel like if you are a guy who has sisters, like you really almost like experience it firsthand. Not like, not in that it's your own experience, but like you see your sisters going through it, and you know like that it's like something's up, and so it becomes a conversation eventually. And
well, it's particularly because of how the medical community mistreated my sister and how horribly the journey she went through to take care of her like gynecological health in general.
Yeah.
I was disgusted by how that was the case. And I remember having a conversation. I'm like, I know this. Like, I remember having to learn this in school, and I did an even deeper dive to understand it further.
Yeah.
And I taught the class, and I was so worried the first time I taught the class, because it was all women and me, and I was so worried that they were going to say like, oh, we know this, come on, thanks for just like mansplaining this to us. And the feedback I got at the end of the class was, you probably shouldn't have led with, we all know this, right? So often, because I was so worried that I was going to come off mansplaining, but they didn't know anything I said.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's why I did that, because I mean, to be honest, it is a bit of a taboo subject. It's strange that it is, but it is.
I mean, yeah, it's so common for women to have never had the conversation about what a cycle even looks like. I worked in a women's clinic for a little while, and so we would talk to women who came in about their menstrual cycle, and especially just because we would see a lot of cases where birth control was having terrible effects on these women, and so we would kind of talk to them about like, well, have you considered not taking birth control? And some women just like didn't even realize that they couldn't always get pregnant, you know?
Oh,
like,
sure, yeah.
You know, like that you're not just always fertile. That's the man. you have specific windows of fertility. But you know, so just things like that. Yeah, but even being in that clinic, I learned so much about my cycle, my experience as a woman, that I was like, oh, why didn't I learn this in biology? Like, I don't remember talking about this. So yeah, it is interesting that information is not. It's getting out there, I think.
It is.
Talking about it more, but
the problem is that, well, Dr. Sarah Hill wrote a really great book called This Is Your Brain on Birth Control, right? And I've read that book so many times at this point because I just keep rereading it. But it's so interesting because the one thing that's so like shocking when most people hear her talk is that she's not anti-birth control, which is very interesting for somebody so well informed.
Yeah.
But her problem is having people that don't understand the fundamentals to creating your own opinion on birth control. Because if I ask any woman out there if you're for or against birth control, like what is she even pulling from to know what she thinks of that? You know, like, do you understand the effects on stress hormones that you have when you take birth control, and the effects on memory, the effects on your interest in people you're interested in dating, right? Like, you're being controlled. And if you're willing to do that because that's something that you'd like to establish your career first or something like that, like, at least you're well informed of the sacrifice you're making. No one should ever be asked to make a sacrifice when they don't know what the sacrifice is.
Right.
That's just not fair. And that's not, but why would you, that's a failure of the medical community.
Yeah.
Period.
And then on top of that, it is very confusing for men who are like in relationships with women, because like they don't have any idea how to help her, because she doesn't really know how to help herself. And then it creates a lot of tension in that relationship, because I think that if it almost puts a lot on the woman to figure it out.
Well, it's incredibly vulnerable.
Yeah.
It's incredibly vulnerable, especially if you're not on birth control and you are cycling regularly and you are going through times of high estrogen and then high progesterone alternating back and forth. It is vulnerable because, I mean, imagine just if you found out somebody was like following your cycle, right? It feels a little invasive because you don't know that's vulnerable information. They can manipulate you with this now. It has to be taken with responsibility as a man to say, like, I see that you're on a progesterone predominant time of your cycle right now, and that these are going to be sensitivities that you have, right? And not to take advantage of that, but to acknowledge that and to incorporate how you interact with that woman because you know that. And like, that's a big responsibility. I'm not sure how many men are actually equipped to take on that responsibility right now.
Right.
It's not obvious.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why the church encourages couples to take natural family planning classes together. Are you guys in one of those natural family?
We don't have to.
You don't have to?
Yeah.
I don't know if any. I have to say,
change
from diocese to diocese.
Yeah, I don't want to make this a big thing, but the whole marriage prep fiasco has been a fiasco.
Okay.
But scheduling wise, like planning and stuff like that, of like figuring out.
But that's
it. No, I know that's not as if it's bad quality. It's just the scheduling is a little bit chaotic.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But like I don't know how couples know how to prepare for marriage, because nobody is very clear, at least within the diocese. Like, yeah, nobody's very clear about it. So,
well, there are some, and sometimes it depends on the priest too, where they would require or encourage. I'm not sure. I think it depends, but a couple to take an NFP class together, and some of those NFP models really encourage the husband to be the one who records what's going on with his wife in her cycle, and exactly because of what you said, like then the husband knows how to care for his wife. Like, this is where you're at, this is what's going on, okay, like because that's a part of being in a relationship with one another, right? To understand like even those really intimate, vulnerable things.
Sure. And also when you are abstaining, right? Becomes so much more meaningful when you understand a woman's cycle, because you understand that it is in the biology of a woman's interaction with her hormones, that in the time when you should abstain, if you are not trying to bring a child into the world, is the time when that would be most desirable. And it's a bigger sacrifice for a woman in that time, because a man's desires don't come at those times, right? But it does for a woman, and it's a far bigger sacrifice when you know that it's coming at the time of the strongest desire. That's what estrogen actually means, is the creation of desire.
Wow.
Estrogen. Gen meaning creation, and estros meaning like, desire.
Change our podcast title. Creation of desire. Or just estrogen.
So as that estro is the desire. It's like comes from the same as like eros.
I wonder.
Like
Not too sure if it comes from the same, but I do know that estro is I actually think it specifically means maddening desire.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, eros is kind of that too.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What a fun fact. That's really beautiful, actually.
Right?
I like it.
And progesterone is the same. The word means like in support of a pregnancy.
Yeah.
Right? So like it is so interesting that like, I mean, obviously these are named purposefully, right?
Yeah.
But it is interesting how they are named, as progesterone is something that is produced in order for you to support a pregnancy, like pro support, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, like there is something in the linguistics of like even understanding that, like you get a deeper understanding of the system in and of itself.
This is not the episode I expected.
but it is so interesting because that's like it comes down to the fundamentals of where society should pick up what they're lacking right now.
Yeah.
Is that's a huge area that men are lacking in their ability to be there for women and their ability to show their vulnerability in what they lack.
Yeah.
Right? Is that like that's exactly what he's talking about, is the need that men and women have for each other. Yeah. And I think that's one of the biggest places right now that we need to be looking.
You know what's interesting about original solitude, like on that topic, is that when Adam sees Eve, there's like a sense of like, oh, like now I'm not alone because she is like me. But now it almost seems like we see, like instead of seeing the similarities between each other, we're so hung up on the differences. And it like almost creates an even greater loneliness than like probably what the idea of original solitude, where there's probably almost a sense of community with the animals of like him getting to name them or whatever. There's a sense of we were all created by God, which obviously wasn't enough because he did need somebody who was like him. But now even more so, like we're really alone, and like even the people who God created for us make us feel alone and different. And I made a note when it was talking about how how our bodies reveal who we are, and how the way that people change their bodies, not even like drastically, but even like simple things like dyeing their hair or getting tattoos or like piercings or whatever, which none of those in and of itself is bad, but there is kind of a sense of like, I think sometimes people create their own loneliness when they make themselves so different from the people around them. And I even think back, like when I got my nose pierced in college, like the reason that I did it is because I felt like a little basic Jane, and I felt like everybody
too part of the community.
Yeah, I was a little too unified with everybody. But I like wanted to be different in some way. I wanted to be recognizable to people. So I got my nose pierced so that there was like something different about me. But I can't even imagine like if I kept going with that, I really do feel like I would have made myself isolated from everybody else, and like almost to a sense of like people are staring at me because I am different from all of them.
Right, and I think men and women have to think about their modification of their appearance and why they're doing it, right? Because there obviously is an element of doing it for the ability to be noticed by the opposite sex. And I think sometimes you get these kind of runaway effects with that, is that, well, in order to be noticed, I had to be the more extreme of that I'm trying to show. And I mean, I brought this up with the nails, and I know that was a weird conversation we had with your mom and your brother, but the point is that nails, right? Like you paint your nails and like you stand out a little bit, right? And then people get more competitive and they go longer and longer nails. And I'm like, do guys want the long nails? Like, I don't know. Like, to be honest, like at a certain point, are you just competing with women to be the one that stands out? Or are you actually doing this for its original? Are you throwing the baby out with the bathwater, right? Are you doing this so that you can, I don't know, like show some effort towards attracting somebody for the opposite sex? Yeah. And I think you have to really ask yourself, why am I doing this? And like, is it for a reason that I wasn't even setting out in the first place for?
Well, sometimes it is a bit of a rebellion against that. And again, I remember I think a lot about like why I changed my appearance, usually after the fact. But when COVID happened, and it has less to do with COVID, but just because that's what the timeline was. That summer, I had my bangs cut. Do you remember? They're almost micro bangs, accidentally. But it wasn't necessarily because I was bored. It wasn't because I like wanted bangs to look better, but it was actually because I was going through a bit of a rejection period of like somebody that I was talking to at the time. And in a way, like I almost was like angry at men, I guess. And I almost like didn't want to look any prettier than I was. I just wanted to like I wanted to feel actually like stronger and more, because I find that bangs make me look more sporty, and like in that sense, like they make me look stronger. And
almost like you are incorporating a masculine element into you, so you feel more complete.
Yeah, which that's so true. And not that I don't find that bangs like I would still get bangs today just because I think they could look cute and feminine. But for me, the what I was doing with it is like I just kind of wanted to rebel against like wanting to look good for somebody. So instead I was like, I don't even care what I look like. I'm just gonna do it. Yeah.
I don't think this deeply about when I change my appearance.
Really? Oh my gosh.
You were talking about nails, and I was like, I get acrylics because they're fun, and then I take them off because I can't function with long nails. So
that's funny because I get them because they're quite convenient. Like not having to think about my nails is very convenient for me.
I will say though, on this topic, the one thing that I have thought about in this arena is like I have tattoos. So like I have since thought about why did I get those tattoos, right? Especially because like in Christian circles, people have very mixed feelings about tattoos, right? Like, and it, when I first got them, I was like, I like them. I want, like they hold meaning to me. So I got them. But then looking back, I'm like, you know, at that time in my life, I was in my early 20s. I felt invisible. I felt like people didn't notice me, didn't ask me about myself, about my story. And I was like, if I have a tattoo, someone's going to ask. Yeah. Like someone's going to, and I'm going to get to share something of myself. I wanted to share something of myself. And I don't regret getting the tattoos, knowing that. If anything, I actually just feel a lot of compassion for my 20-year-old self who like needed that. And like, okay, like that's fine. But it is like, I think, good to know, like, okay, there was like a need to reach out or be reached out to, you know? I don't think a lot though about why I cut my hair or why.
But I think that thought is an important one to have some foresight into your appearance, or I even think sometimes even the layout of your house, which is an interesting way of looking at it, is because does it facilitate God's will, if anything, right? Does it facilitate your ability to spread community, right? Does your kitchen look like a place where you should like, I don't know, get in and get out, or does it look like a welcoming place that you can come and sit, right? Does your appearance look like something that we talked about this, I think with your mom about, and you too, I think we were talking about when you're on a plane, And do you want to talk to the person next to you?
Put in your AirPods.
Right, putting in your earpods is like a great way to say, I'm not interested. And you don't have to be. I'm not saying like at all times is an opportunity for you to create a community of.
But no, you're making a
aisle
statement.
15, like doesn't have to be your thing. But like exactly, like you should be aware of like maybe there are elements about you that are making it difficult for people to create a community around you. There's no avenue, and a tattoo is a good place to create an avenue for a conversation and have pleasant talk. I complimented somebody's tattoo. They had the yellow brick road on their arm.
That's fun.
When we were driving through Minnesota, right? And we stopped off at that gas station.
Oh.
And I had a nice conversation with her, and she was really pleasant. And to be honest, it was one of those things where it very easily could have been that I bought my gas and left and said the pleasantries, but I don't know. I felt like I remember her. Would I have remembered her if I didn't say that about her tattoo?
Yeah. And there is something about kind of going along with the airport thing. I don't love flying because I just get really nauseous on planes, and so it's like never a good experience because I start getting anxious as soon as I have to like wake up and get all my stuff together, and I feel a little bit frantic about leaving something behind, and then I get to the airport and I feel frantic that TSA is going to pull me aside and I'm going to miss my flight, and then I get frantic that I'm going to get on the plane and be uncomfortable and be next to somebody who makes me even more uncomfortable, and it's like so many things going through my mind. But what gets me out of that and makes flights more of an experience is when I go outside of myself and look around and see the people around me and maybe notice something about them. And to be honest, both of you have helped me do this because like something you said to me, because I think we had talked about this before, and you were saying how like going on flights, like it feels like an adventure, like you're going on a new adventure and you don't know what to expect. And that really helped me to feel like, yeah, like I don't know what to expect. I don't know who I'm going to meet, and it is something new and that should be fun. And I think just flying with you makes it so much easier to go outside of myself because I get a bit, going along with the safety thing, like I get a little bit nervous about who I'm going to talk to and what they might say to me. And it's like having somebody with me to make me feel safe, and especially because you notice things about people and aren't afraid to like ask them about things, like it makes the whole experience so much different because I don't feel like alone and scared on the plane. But if I start feeling nauseous, like in a weird way, the person next to me might not comfort me, but like at least I know that they are a normal human who can sympathize with me.
Sure. I think we complete each other a lot in our travels because I think you tend toward craving safety, craving like let's make sure this gets done right and just go through and not be uneventful. And I crave novelty and all these different things, but I lack that sense of like let's relax, let's be calm kind of thing. And you helped me out so much with that, especially because I mean I have just very strange, like I have no fear of flying, like none, but I have a panic attack every time I walk on a plane for some reason. And like I'm not sure why, or if I wake up on a plane, which is why I don't sleep.
Yeah.
But like it's I've come to realize that's purely physiological, right? It's not something I'm like thinking about, like, oh my goodness. It's more of just like this is gonna happen, just let it pass kind of situation.
Yeah.
But I think you helped me out with that, and then if I could provide the safety to be able to even not to build a community on a plane, but like so that we can have pleasant conversations.
Yes, yeah.
It's more of a complete.
For sure, yeah. Flying alone is not fun. I mean, maybe you think it's fun. Oh.
I mean, I have to do it a lot.
Yeah.
It is nice. The last 2 trips I've been able to fly with family, and I'm like, oh, I haven't done this in a while. This is kind of nice.
I know. It's so fun. It's so fun flying with people.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you guys what you thought about this, and I believe you wrote something down when we read this on page 151, where it says, "Man is alone. This is to say that through his own humanity, through what he is at the same time set into a unique, exclusive, and unrepeatable relationship with God himself?
Oh, I thought that was beautiful, actually. So get in this whole conversation, I'm really glad you brought that up. In this whole conversation, like the really obvious direction to kind of walk, well, I don't want to say obvious, a conversation that often surrounds this topic of original solitude is that it's not good that man be alone, right? And the man and woman relationship. But I thought that was so beautiful because there is, in his original solitude, man discovers things about himself, and that in that particular sentence, he discovers his relationship with God, and I think it's really beautiful, like that, because he is alone, he learns that his relationship with God is only his. That it, yeah, I think I wrote down the words is what I wrote down, because it's although now I can't. Oh, unique, exclusive, and unrepeatable.
Unrepeatable, yeah.
That, like, and I think it's just such a good thing to know about our, like, my personal relationship with God is only mine and his. That it is unique to anyone else's. Sarah is going to have a relationship with our Lord that is not mine. That it is exclusive, that I am meant to be exclusive in my relationship with the Lord. That it is okay if I don't share everything that comes up in prayer. That's appropriate to have things that are mine and the Lord's, and maybe a spiritual director, because they're good to have. And yeah, unrepeatable, that the Lord has never made a person that he has the same relationship with. No other person in history has the relationship with God that Eric has with God, that Sarah has with God, that I have with God. And I just think that's incredible. Like that is revealed to us in Adam's original solitude. That in his solitude he found, I have a relationship with the Lord that is meant to be mine and his.
Yeah.
Like it's just so beautiful.
Yeah.
Have I said beautiful enough?
It is.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's important that people recognize that, especially like when you're in a relationship, because there is a sense of like, this person like should understand me completely, and like, but like, obviously, like, how could that be? Because even if you were to explain all of your thoughts, like, there is a sense of like, they still didn't completely, like, they didn't live your life. They haven't lived all your experiences. And so in a way, like, even if they were to completely understand all of the words that you were saying to them, they can't completely understand what you're feeling when you're saying that. And like, that's something that really only God can, because he really understands it better than we understand it. And he's the one who's like revealing all of it to us, even as we might be explaining it to somebody. And that's just important to know, because we so badly like want people to like see us and know us and understand us completely. But like, because of, I mean, already communication, like there's so many problems in communication that it's hard for people to understand, like when you don't know exactly like how to communicate it in the way that they can understand it. But then even beyond that, like, even if you were to communicate it perfectly, like, you still are two different persons. And like, God is the healer, the savior, the creator. Like, he's the only one who can do it all and know it all, and like follow you along with all of it too. Because I think sometimes I do explain something to somebody and they do understand me in that moment, but then their understanding of me is what they know from me from the past time that they knew me. And I was even talking to one of my friends last night, who I haven't caught up with her since September. And so obviously there were a lot of things to catch up on. But even my friend who I saw, like, who I was on the phone with a couple days ago, there's still like things that I have to catch her up on too, because like I'm constantly changing and understanding myself in a new way. And so even to that extent, like, God only understands us completely because he's the only one who follows us through all of it and is caught up on all of it in a way that like nobody else can, and like that's okay. And so it is such a gift, like when you do understand somebody so well, like in that God entered into that relationship, and you can like that you have that gift of understanding is really, really cool. But it's a gift, like it's not something that you can just produce magically all the time.
Sure, and it also really paints the importance of God within any type of like relationship that you have.
Yeah.
Right? Because I almost think of, imagine a parent who knows two of his children very well, and they're having a conflict, and they don't work it out well between each other usually. You know, it's not something that like the two of them aren't just gonna like fix it, but they go to the parents in order to like replenish their relationship, right? To like to renew their relationship, because the parent knows each of them uniquely, right? But they also know who they are supposed to be together. They know what it's like to be good siblings better than the two siblings, right? And there's a necessity to bring all relationships to God, whether it's a romantic relationship or just any relationship to God, because he knows both of you better than you know each other.
Yeah.
It's funny that you bring up the parent example, because as you were talking, I was thinking of our mom. I think all of us, like, we'll call our mom and talk her ear off about literally everything we're feeling. And sometimes I'm talking to my mom and I'm talking about something really sensitive, and I start to get emotional, and I was like, I didn't even know I felt this way about this until I was talking to my mom. You know, and sometimes like somebody will ask a question about me, and I'm like, I don't know, I need to ask my mom, because I don't even know if I know this about myself, but she might. And I feel like all of us have that kind of relationship with her, because sometimes like our mom will say something to me about what someone else is going through, and I was like, I talked to that sibling yesterday and it did not come up. Right. You know, like, and it's not that I think any of us don't want that shared with each other. Like, we all care for each other really deeply, love each other really deeply, but there is a difference in like, that parent and child relationship, and how we're able to just completely let go whatever. Like and so I think of like with the Lord, like he compares himself to a mother in Psalm 139, right? Like, should a mother forget her child, even so I will not forget you. Like, that the Lord is like, to whatever degree I feel completely safe, and like I can just have a complete meltdown with our mom, even if I didn't know that I was about to have a meltdown. Like, the Lord is like exponentially more of that to every person. Right? Like, and what a gift. Not everyone has that with their parents, and I'm grateful for our parents. But,
absolutely.
No, it's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Do you guys have any other thoughts on this reading?
Shoot, I could go on for a really long time. We have to cut us off.
Right? Well, Katie, thank you so much for joining us on our 24th episode.
Yeah, thanks.
We'll come back again.
Oh, absolutely. All right. And we will see you guys all next time on our 25th episode
of the creation of anatomy.
Of the creation of anatomy.
Cheers.
Cheers.